Hi, this is Allyse Sedivy. This week we're going to talk about your weekly success schedule. So many leaders wonder, how do I succeed? What should I do to succeed? And sometimes it takes us in many different directions. We try this program, and then just the very next month we try something exactly opposite. Somebody says they're doing something incredible, and so we change our gears once again. And a lot of times we're moving in so many different directions, but never really making any progress. What we really want to have happen is a very clear path for you and your leaders to move forward in the same direction with the same goal. So one of the things that is really evident when I look at top leaders in doTERRA is that they follow a very specific schedule. And that schedule, they're consistent with that schedule week after week, month after month, and year after year. So we're going to talk about what this success schedule really looks like and how we can emulate that success schedule. So there's 6 crucial activities for success when you want to be a doTERRA leader. And the first one, of course, is oil classes. We're going to just go over these, just kind of skim over them and then go over them in detail in just a minute. So everyone knows that we need to teach oil classes if we're going to be successful. In fact, this is the bread and butter of our business. The second is basic business training. We need to let people know that are interested in the business how to get started and what to do. The third is continuing education classes. So for those people that are really interested in the oils and they want to learn more, they have a place and a forum that they can get educated. The fourth is a team call. Now, we don't recommend having your own team call until you're a diamond, but we're going to talk a lot about this team call and how you can get involved. The fifth is strategy sessions with your key leaders. I think for years and years and years, I've been doing strategy sessions with key leaders. I can't imagine the business without it. I can't imagine being successful without these. And the last is contacting and following up. Now, I wanted to put contacting and following up number 1, but I didn't want to scare you guys off, so I left it for the last. But of course, if we don't contact and if we're not following up, we have no one to go to oils classes, no one to talk about the business, nobody to get educated, nobody on a team call, and no strategy sessions. So it's pretty self-evident. So let's just jump into it really quick. An introduction to oils class. Now, there are millions of people in doTERRA, and many of them teach an oils class different. And that's fine. In fact, many classes work. And whether you're teaching the oil class a specific way or whether your team is doing it a specific way is not necessarily the point. The point is this: making sure your oils class is at the same time, at the same place, and making sure that all of your leaders know where it is so they don't have to even think or question. So when I first started the business, I knew that I wanted to have a class at least once a week. So in our area, we decided that Saturdays and Sundays probably wasn't a good time because people were with their families. Friday nights, they're out on dates, and Mondays wasn't a good time either. So I had Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and maybe your area is a little bit different, but I chose Thursday evening right after work, starting about 6 p.m., and from 6 to 8 p.m., we had a class, a basic oils class, and it was every single week. It was at the same place and at the same time on the same day. Now, the reason why this is so critical is because my leaders never had to question, I wonder when the next oils class is, or call me or text me and hesitate when they're talking to people, when they're following up with people, when the oil class was. Now, don't get me wrong, some weeks we didn't have anybody show up, and that's okay. We still had a class at the same time, the same place, on the same day the next week. And some weeks a lot of people were there. So we rotated who would teach those classes, and we did this week after week, month after month, year after year. And it became so popular and so needed. And then, of course, after a while, you're going to start branching out. Your team is going to get so big that other areas will have their own class like this. So I would highly recommend, that if you're in a certain area with a lot of your team around you, make sure you choose a day and a place and a time that you can be very, 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 very consistent, and no one has to guess. when it is, and where it is. This will help you become a lot more successful. Okay, second is a basic business training class. Now, this is not a full-on compensation plan. This is not, let's go through in detail exactly how to invite, exactly how to teach, exactly how to follow up, because that's overwhelming for someone that thinks to themselves, I kind of like these oils. Maybe I'd like to share them myself. How does the business work? So what we do with a basic business training class, it's really simple. We talk about three things. We talk about residual income and why that's important. A lot of people like building a pipeline story. I love that story, or something that's similar to that, right? So you first talk about residual income and why that would be attractive. Second, we give a simplified compensation plan. We're talking like just the power of three and maybe fast starts, right? Very, very simplified. Don't go into a lot of detail. It overwhelms people at the very beginning. And then the third and most important part of basic business training is just success stories. Either your success story, or if you're newer in the business, maybe success stories of people you know, of your upline. So this is really, really quick. It's really easy. It should be done in no more than an hour. And let me show you where you want to put it. So right after your oils class, you're going to have your basic business training class right after. The reason why is because a lot of people will stay from the oils class and they're interested. And before, they never ever thought that they would be interested in building the business, but they stay and hang out and learn more, and they get more interested. And then people throughout the week that are really interested or that you've talked to can show up for the basic business training. I definitely recommend having it right after your oils class, and make sure that it just lasts 1 hour. All right, next, continuing education. So let me tell you why this is so important. So many people that go to a class and buy a kit don't know how to use the oils. I didn't the first time that I went to a class. I was really, really naive about essential oils, and so I needed a lot more help than just one class. Almost everybody does. And so what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to create a forum for people that are interested in the product, that they can come and learn more and more and more about the product. There's a couple of reasons why. Number one, because these people are going to get more and more interested in the product. They'll learn more about specific products, and then guess what? They'll buy more specific products, and at the end of every product education class, we talk about loyalty rewards, right? So the chances of your people learning more about the product, using the product more, and getting on loyalty rewards is much higher. And then the second reason is because the more they come to these product education classes, the more interested they become in sharing it with other people and eventually doing it as a business. So we chose 8 product education classes. Seven of them are listed here, but let me give you some of the ones that we chose. And it doesn't matter which product education classes you choose. All that matters is that they're classes that are going to be important for your team and you think they're going to be interested in. So of course, essential oils 1-on-1, basics about essential oils, right? The second is the power behind proper health. This is of course lifelong vitality. I recommend this absolutely with product education. The third is healthy weight lifestyle, right? Here we talk about things like Slim and Sassy and Trim Shake and control bars, things like that. Emotional wellness and mood management. This is a perfect place for the emotional wellness kit. Body balancing with aroma touch technique. People love aroma touch and they love to learn about it. Hormone balance and family health, or essential science. And you can think of a lot of different things. Maybe pregnancy, maybe essential oils for children, maybe, learning to deal with pain, anything that you'd like, you can actually put into your product education classes. These are really easy actually to teach. You can go to any of your books and you can learn about these things and then just teach about that section, right? So the most important thing is that everyone knows at your oils class that there's product education and it's free. So what we did is we took 8 of these topics and we just did one every single week, and then we rotated them. So essential oils 1-on-1 would be first, and then the power lifelong vitality, and then healthy weight lifestyle. And then after we got to the end, we started again at Essential Oils 101. And I'll give you a little tip of something that worked out so great for us. We made this little card. It was actually kind of like a 3x5 card, and we printed product education or continuing education on the front, and we put all the different classes. And when somebody came to a class, we would sign right by, like, let's say the class they came to, Essential Oils 101. And then we told them, if you come to all the classes, you will get a gift. And you can make that gift whatever you want. It can be something from your LRP, it can be a diffuser, it can be a book that you like, whatever you want it to be. Anyway, people loved coming to the classes, and they would line up to get their signature, to get your signature on these little cards. And they would come back, and if they missed one, well, they'd get it the next time around. Now, the whole point is this: when someone comes and learns about these 8 different classes for product and continuing education, they're in love with the product. They understand the product. They use it more. They want to share it more, and they're definitely on loyalty rewards. So that product education course lasts an hour. Immediately after that product education course, we have a business education course for people, of course, that are interested in the product, that want to stay for the second hour, and they've become interested again. And notice that every week they come for product education, they're going to get another opportunity to stay and learn about the business. So we actually broke the business education just down into 4 segments. Getting started, which means making a list, sampling, and inviting to a class, teaching somebody exactly how to do that. The second would be compensation plan, going through the entire compensation plan. The third is how to teach an essential oils class, so they can teach one also. And then the fourth is going elite in 6 weeks. So these are the business classes that we've liked. And once again, we just rotate them. When we're finished with one, we rotate another one. And this is where we found we love to put it. So Saturday mornings in our area was a great time that we could get people together for education. The first hour is, of course, product, and the second hour is business. And this has worked incredibly well in all the areas I've started, not just Utah and Hawaii and Vegas and Arizona, but also in China, in Korea, in Taiwan. It works all over the world, and it's something that you absolutely can't miss. This will make sure that all of your product users, which are literally like 80 to 90%, right, of our businesses are product users, are loving the oils. They're continually buying the oils, and they're on loyalty rewards. Okay, next. Next is a team call. Now, a team call is done by someone who's diamond or above. Because if you're less than diamond, you don't really have enough people on your team to jump on this team call and to make it exciting and fun and to have different people talking about different topics. So if you're not a diamond, you need to be figuring out who your diamond upline is that holds a team call. And if your immediate upline doesn't hold one, ask her to hold one. And if not, you can always find a diamond up that will have a team call that your team can jump on and be a part of. Now, the reason why we have team calls it's because we can talk on a very individual level with people, just about our team and what's happening with our team and maybe promotions that's happening, and get people really excited on a weekly basis. So the team call should be about 30 minutes long. Sometimes people do them 45 minutes, but 30 minutes long is ideal because it's not too long and not too short. It's still fun and not draining for people. And let me just give you a basic outline of how a team call should go. The first 2 minutes is a welcome, saying hi, getting to know everybody, on the team, and who's on the call, and maybe explaining who's going to be presenting that day. The second part is you're going to do 5 minutes training on a specific oil or a product. Now, this is really important because this is where a lot of your team members learn new things that you've learned about the products, right? And you'll be surprised on how many of those things people the very next week will go out and teach their teams. So 5 minutes on a specific oil or product. The next is a specific business skill. So here you're going to choose a skill that you feel like that week your team really needs to concentrate on. Something that maybe you haven't been doing, or something that they need to understand more, or just something that you feel like, hey, we need to talk about this. 15 minutes. Now, you don't do all of the talking. It's best if you if you ask people, hey, could you talk on this oil for 5 minutes? And could you talk on this business skill? And obviously you're going to go to people that know a little bit about the product or have expertise in that business skill, right? But to have other people talking on the call is much better. And then next is recognition or testimonials. So if someone rank advanced, or if someone got their power of 3, or if someone just got a new business builder that you're excited about, you can talk about that on the call. It gets everybody else excited. And testimonials, business testimonials, product testimonials. This is where you can really share the power of our business and the power of our product. And then of course, at the very end, just 3 minutes of reminders and then closing it up. So any promotions that are going on that month, company, or promotions that you have going on, upcoming events that are happening that people really need to put on their calendar and let their team know. This is a basic team call. It's really important to stay consistent on these team calls and to make sure you start on time and you end on time, and to actually make sure that they're exciting and new people, new material. The fastest way to get people not joining your team call is if they're boring, or if you don't feel like there's any value there, right? So keeping these exciting and keeping these informative is really important to touch base with your entire team on a team call. They're really easy to do. You can just have a conference call that everyone dials into at a certain time and a certain day. And I really like to do them on Monday nights. So Monday nights is a really, really important time to do a team call, I think, because it's the beginning of the week. And you kind of set your whole team up for success that week. Some people do them in the mornings. It's harder if people are working. So in the evenings, it seems to work a little bit better. So let's just place our team call Monday night at, let's say, 8 p.m., okay? Next is going to be strategy sessions. Strategy sessions with key leaders. Now, let me tell you what this means. Key leaders doesn't mean frontline. It could be frontline, but it basically means people that are key to your organization that are qualifying you for rank, okay? So if you're an elite, you might not have any key leaders at this point. You might be looking for leaders. That's okay. If you're a silver, hopefully you have 3 key leaders that are really engaged and are trying to build the business, right? And if you're a diamond, you're going to have more. So let me tell you what strategy sessions look like with key leaders. Number 1, make sure they're not super long. In fact, I recommend if someone is part-time in the business, doing half-an-hour strategy sessions. If they're full-time in the business, it might take about an hour to get done. And you do these just once a week, okay? So strategy sessions with your key leaders happen just once a week. So step 1 is you're going to reconnect, say hi, and then ask them some questions. How was their week? How are they feeling? What went well? What didn't go well? And then step 2 is going to be reviewing your goals and priorities and action items that you had the last week from strategy sessions. Now, notice you've got to remember what you talked about last week. So every strategy session you have, you can take notes on, and you can remind yourself and your leaders the next week, hey, this is what we were working on last week. How did it go? Step 3, set up an action plan for the coming week. So this simply looks like this. Okay, this is what we want to accomplish this week. This is what you're going to do. And as your upline, this is what I'm going to do. Now, I think actually this is the most important part of strategy sessions. And the reason why is because if your leaders are jumping on a call with you every week and all you're doing is like, okay, how are you doing? Great. How did last week go? Good. What are you going to do this week? All right, we'll talk to you next week. After a while, they're like, this is kind of a waste of time. I'm just regurgitating everything that I knew or that I did. But if their success happens to be your success, and if you say, okay, what's my part in your action plan for this week? What can I do to help you? I'm going to do this. You're going to do this. Let's split it up. They're going to absolutely want to be on that call with you because you're helping them in their business. So step 4 is now you're going to put those action items in your calendar, and you're going to make sure that your leader puts it in their calendar. So you put them in their calendar so you can follow up with them, maybe text them, maybe remind them through the week. And then step 5 is, of course, important reminders like, don't forget, this week we have to, maybe there's a 200 PV promo that ends, or maybe you have to buy tickets for leadership that's coming up. So any kind of important reminders like Diamond Club qualifications or anything like that, you're going to want to make sure that you go over this with your key leaders in your strategy sessions. Now, I have to say, I started strategy sessions right at the very beginning of my business, and I have never had a week that I haven't had strategy sessions with key leaders, week after week, month after month, year after year. This has been probably the most important part of building the business for me. So if you're not doing this, make sure that you start doing this immediately, and make sure you're doing it with your upline also. If you're a silver or gold, or you're a premier and you're really wanting strategy sessions with your upline leader, call them and say, hey, we need to be doing a strategy session every week. When can you do it? All right, let's move on. So where do we fit this into our weekly schedule, right? I like to do strategy sessions on Monday, if it's at all possible, because it starts the week off really well. It's the beginning of the week. If you do it on Thursday or Friday and then the weekend comes, it's kind of like, well, we talk about something and then we forget about it, right? And it's plenty of time if you started at 9 a.m. and went to 1 a.m. or 1 p.m., even if you have lots of frontline leaders, even if all of them are taking an hour. But some of you, you're going to have just 1 or 2 or 3 half-an-hour strategy sessions that would take you only an hour and a half. And I like to put the strategy sessions all together in one chunk so that it doesn't break up my day. So I can just say, okay, now I'm doing strategy sessions and I'm going to concentrate on that. And then when I'm done, I can do other things. So Mondays are a really great day for me. Now, contacting and following up. You know, it would be ideal if we didn't have to schedule contacting and following up. If everywhere we went, we're always talking to people, we're always taking time to follow up, we're constantly putting people into our pipeline, that's ideal. But ideal doesn't always happen. So what I've found when I really want to engage in the business or hit a new rank or get things moving, I found that I actually have to plan out my contacting and following up. I remember when I was going for a new rank a couple of years ago, I literally planned out every single day when I was going to contact and follow up. And it was probably the most successful time I've ever had in the business. So let me recommend that at least 4 hours a week you're contacting and following up. If you want to do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or if you want to do it several hours on one day, whatever that is, at least 4 hours a week. And I like to do it at different times during the days. Now, the reason why is what if you just had 10 a.m. every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? I did it from 10 to 11. And someone worked at those exact same times and you couldn't get a hold of them every single day. Well, if you're calling maybe in the evening or afternoon or in the mornings or at lunchtime, you have a way better chance of getting a hold of them if it's different days and different times. So setting this up is super, super important. And then just holding yourself accountable. We all know that this is the most important part of the business. We have to actually schedule it into our day. So I want to just do something really quickly with you, and I want to add up the hours. Let's look at how much time we're actually working, okay? So even if you had lots of strategy sessions, 4 hours of strategy sessions on Monday, an hour team call, so you're at 5, 4 hours of contacting and following up, so now you're at 9, 2-hour oil class, now you're at 10, 11, business builder training, now you're at 12, continuing education for product and for business, now you're at 14 hours. Even if it took you 1 to 2 hours of travel, you're at 15, 16 hours a week. That is less than a part-time job. And if you're doing this weekly success schedule, the most important activities are already happening. You're being the most effective that you possibly can, and you're going to grow your business by leaps and bounds, especially if you can keep it consistent week after week, month after month, year after year. So I want to give you a challenge for this week for your leader circle. So people that are involved in the part-time program, I want you to create your own weekly success schedule and actually go through and schedule all your necessary events and meetings. Figure out what days and then make a schedule like it's going to be at this time, at this place, and call up and make sure it works and let your leaders know. So for people that are really going for it, right? Why don't go ahead and create your own success schedule. Go ahead and schedule all your necessary events and meetings, and then help your key leaders set up their weekly success schedule. All of your key leaders have their own success schedules set up, and some of those meetings might be the same meetings. Maybe your team call will be the same, and maybe some of your oil classes will be the same that you share. and then help your leaders schedule all those necessary events and meetings so they're set up for their weekly success. Thank you so much for being on with me today, and let's make sure that we plan, because when we plan and when we actually become consistent on that plan, we create amazing results and we become successful. Bye-bye, everyone.